for the faint of heart. We all stars, win or lose, we don't play the part. And when the going getting tough, I get to going hard. You bring your best and you know I'm...
This is the Boss and the Beast podcast. I'm Rafe.
I'm Miss Beast.
All right. So, been a long time since we've been on the YouTubes, the tubies. And I figured we'd start just chatting, because Melissa's kind of a quiet one. You always hear about what I got to say, but we kind of want to see what she's got to say. So I'm going to intend to ask questions and see if we can figure out what's in her head. But we're going to start real basic, just kind of giving you guys a little background on what we are about. You kind of know the little bits and pieces, you know, powerlifting, bodybuilding, got a couple of bully dogs. So we'll just kind of walk through a little bit of that. But just recently, 3 weeks ago today, I compete at the USA's, Masters USA's, and won both the 35 and the 40 overall. So pretty cool. You know, people have asked me if I feel any different. And no, I don't feel any different. But I've been running this, you know, since I was 12, trying to, you know, get a pro card. Had a lot of time in the past where I had to put it on hold for family and growing business and things like that, but it finally came to fruition.
Good word.
Yeah, I say those things once in a while, but you know, it wasn't meant to be until this year, and I'm glad it happened this way, because it feels like 2 cards at once really made a statement. And I had to make improvements. You know, when you don't win, a lot of times you just need to go back and go, what could I do to be better? And I just kept doing that, and this is where we came out, and I'm going to continue to do that. I don't have any shows in the future planned yet, because we need to just keep cranking and building and see where the body turns out to be here in the next couple of months, and then we'll make a decision from there. But yeah, anyway, it was a big deal. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Felt like another day. Felt like I owned the stage. Didn't have any butterflies. I mean, it just felt like it was what I meant to do up there. So it was pretty cool in that regard. And I couldn't have done it without the old ball and chain here. No. She's picked up all the slack. Makes all the meals. All prep. Deals with my intensity, which is already high. And then I go into prep, and it's quite unbearable for most. I just try to stay busy 24/7. That keeps me sane, at least. I don't know if anybody else around me feels the same way, but you know, growing the business had a lot of people helping me with that this year, so it allowed me to focus a bit more on the bodybuilding. But we still grew the gyms at the same time, so it was pretty incredible. But yeah, enough of that. Bodybuilding can be intense in a lot of ways for the spouse. Kind of quiet there, spouse. But anyway, Mel's a pro since 2014. She got a women's physique. What do you do for a living, Mel?
I pretend to be a nurse.
Pretend, huh?
No, I'm an OR nurse currently. I've been a nurse for 14 years now. I've done a wide variety of nursing, starting in critical care. Then I went to work at the jail for several years and got tired of dealing with asshole cops, so decided to try something different. So I started working for a friend of mine who runs a surgery center, and now I've gained a lot of experience in the operating room, which is pretty cool. So I really enjoy where I'm at now and plan to stay there a while. So
where did you start out in nursing after you got out of college, got your degree?
Critical care. I spent 7 years in the ICU, worked my way up from a new grad to a charge nurse over that time span, and had the opportunity at the very end there to be a house supervisor, but I was like, nah, no thank you. I don't like to... Charge nursing is as far as I would like to go as far as managing other people. That's just not... That's not who I am. I'm not a boss. I don't like to order people around. I'm not a micromanager. So, as far as a boss role, the highest I would like to ever be is a charge nurse.
You don't like to have to...
I don't want to be
take
responsible.
on all the responsibilities
Nope.
every night.
I don't want to be on call 24/7. No, thank you. I'd like to go do my job, come home, and forget it as soon as I walk out the door.
Now, when you were at the jail, what type of care was that in comparison to, like, the ICU?
I don't even know how to describe it.
I mean, ICU is pretty critical, right?
Yeah.
Like, that they're dying and...
Jail is very basic. If they are not stable, I guess you would call it, then they are not in jail. They're in the hospital being sat on by officers. But as far as actual jail nursing, it's very basic. Anybody, literally, you could do it without a degree. It's that dumb. Like
putting Band-Aids on people
yeah,
and washing
that's
wounds.
like wound care is like changing a Band-Aid. I mostly work the intake area, so it's just complete chaos all night long. Just people drunk and on drugs for the most part coming in all night, and me just trying to decide if they're stable to be in jail for at least the first 24 hours, and if not, then we medically reject them, and that's where the cops become assholes. And I had enough of that, and I had enough of arguing with them constantly every night.
So why would they be arguing with you? Because you got to tell them to take them to the hospital? Or?
Yeah. Like, I'm not... When somebody's comes in and it's evident that they're overdosed, I'm not going to put my license on the line by saying, oh yeah, they're fine. We'll just throw them in a room and check on them 4 hours later, they'll be dead. Mm-hmm. But somehow the cops seem to think that that's the right way to go about it, and...
They just want to dump their...
They just want to dump their trash and leave, and I get it. Like, these people are mostly pieces of shit, but I also have a job to do, and I know these people are pieces of shit, but I still am responsible for their life, at least for the first 24 hours, so I just got burnt out on dealing with that.
So what did you like about the ICU? Because you worked there, 7 years at least?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like
very structured. Or?
It's not really actually very structured. It's kind of keeping them alive till 7:45 every day.
You clock out.
The hardest part about it was literally knowing that somebody is dead, laying there in the bed, being kept alive by machines and IV drips, but families are in denial and they don't want to let them go. They just want to sit there and think that they're doing things that are purposeful, but as a nurse and our providers, our doctors know that there is this is the end of this person's life, and so it's literally just a lot of times taking care of somebody who's actually dead.
So the family's there with a very minute fraction of a percent of hope that they'll stay alive, and you guys have seen enough of it to know that it's just not going to happen.
They're not opening their eyes. Yeah. They're not moving their fingers or their toes purposefully, as much as the family wants to think that that's what's happening. That's not what's happening.
The spontaneous movement or whatever.
Like reflexes. Okay, everybody has reflexes. That's why their eyes are twitching or their fingers moving or their toes moving or whatever. But I mean, now granted, there are plenty of people in the ICU that make it out alive, but a majority of what I took care of were people that were on 16 drips, every machine you could imagine, and...
Are they coming from car accidents? Are they elderly?
No.
Or what's the main...
We weren't a trauma hospital, so not so much on the car accident, like gunshot, none of that type of stuff. Just people that are sick, they have... essentially their guts infected or they're bleeding out internally, things like that. Sepsis, just widespread bacterial infection that's attacking all of their organs, things like that.
So after 7 years there, you just wanted to change of pace, and you decided the jail was the place to be?
Well, I knew somebody who worked at the jail who I also worked with in the ICU. And she was the one who dragged me into that. I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for that. She's like, trust me, it's so chill in comparison to what we're used to. So it was initially. But as we all know, the more you show you can do, the more they pile on top of you. So, of course, I started as just a nurse, and then I became a charge nurse, and then we were oftentimes short-staffed, so I would be the charge nurse, the intake nurse. There was a couple nights where I was the EMT as well, because the EMT either didn't show up or called in sick. So I'm trying to do 3 jobs as one person, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody's coming to help. Lucky if you get to go to the bathroom or have a bite to eat. It's, yeah.
And so you worked overnight? You worked in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Is it different during the day then? Would you have had a lot more help at that point?
No. I mean, staffing is staffing on both shifts.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, some days day shift is way overstaffed and night shift is short and vice versa, but I wouldn't say it's any easier on days versus nights. It just depends. Is everybody going to show up for work? Are people going to call in? And at the jail, everybody calls in sick like every other freaking week. And there's no consequence. They just do it. And there's no such thing as getting written up or fired if you do it consecutively so many times.
Sounds like bad leadership.
Yeah, leadership sucks there. And I'm not just trying to be negative. I went through
5 years.
I worked there for almost 6 years. But we had multiple directors of nursing and multiple health service administrators, and I don't think any of them really did a wonderful job. They're nice people, but when we're drowning and nobody's there to back us up, and like I said, there's no consequence for people's actions, like calling in 10 minutes before the start of the shift or leaving in the middle of the shift. I had a girl leave on me in the middle of the shift, and I was not okay with it. I was like, no, I'm not accepting that. If you need to leave, you can call I think it was the vice president who was like overseeing us at the time because we didn't have leadership. And I made her call them at 2 o'clock in the morning to tell them she was leaving. And then my night I was extra pissed because then I had to go pick up her mess. And of course, I still to this day believe she was not even sick. She just was slammed and didn't want to deal with it because when I went out there, it was a freaking nightmare.
So enough was enough. And that was closer to like 5 years in at that point?
Yeah.
Toward the end there?
People's work ethic is garbage these days, and I hate that more than anything. Like,
being a bodybuilder, I mean, and living with you for 8 years now, you're very type A and very meticulous with everything you do, and everything's got to be in a certain way. So dealing with that's probably just mind-blowing every single day. People don't want to do their job. I mean, they can't even show up to do the bare minimum, let alone anything else. What did you like about that job initially?
There was never a dull moment.
I mean, I got stories.
It was so much fun before there was such thing as body cam. Like, we had so much fun because they would just be fucking people up. Like you would just hear screaming, help, help! And I'm obviously not in there seeing what's happening. I'm just like in my office doing my thing, but I'm like, oh my God, somebody is getting the freaking brakes beaten off of them. But they come in acting stupid. Like, if I was an officer, I'd probably freaking do the same thing. So yeah, we had such a good time before body cam, and body cam didn't come around on everybody until probably like my last year working there. So, and then everything got boring because they have to turn that on every time somebody comes in, and all the excitement was not so exciting anymore. And yeah, it just.
So, and then you transitioned. While you were still there, you were doing some day shifts at the surgery center, like part-time?
I was working there per diem. Why was I doing? Oh, because I was working. Was I doing both per diem at that time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think I was working both jobs per diem because I was doing a lot of shows that year, so I wasn't working full time.
That was 22, so you're doing the Texas Pro, you did the Rising. and the Olympia, so it was a pretty stacked schedule. You couldn't have a full-time.
Yeah, because I can't get that much time off of work being a full-time employee. Like, I could probably take off 2 weeks in total for the whole year, but not 2 weeks for each show. So I went per diem, and I still worked like full-time hours, kind of. When I was able, if they needed me, I worked. I just couldn't be considered full-time because of my competing plans.
And so, and then the surgery center's not night shift, so you were bouncing back and forth.
Yeah,
and
that was
like
rough.
3 graveyards, and then you do a day shift. So, like, with the graveyards, it eats up another additional day.
Yeah.
Of just going to bed and recovery. So there's 4 days, and then, man, you're like working 6 days for just 4 days worth of work.
Yeah, so I would work Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights at the jail, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., but I, of course, don't get home until at the earliest, like 8:30 in the morning, and I try to get showered, eat, and in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then I would get up around 3:30 or 4 to get my cardio in before I go back to work, and then when I would get off Monday morning and I'd be done with my night shifts, sometimes I would work Tuesday morning at the surgery center, so I'm like trying to sleep a little bit during the day Monday because I was up all night Sunday. Sleep a few hours Monday, get up, go to the gym, and then try to get back to bed Monday night at an early hour because surgery center work days generally start around like 6 a.m. So I'd have to get up super early to get my cardio in and get to the surgery center by 6 in the morning.
So
That was rough, but...
So you go to bed at like 9 or 10, but what time are you getting up then? Because you got to be there like 7 or 8.
The surgery center?
Yeah.
If I had to be there...
You're good.
If I had to be at the surgery center at 7, then I always get up 3 hours before I have to be there. That gives me enough time to get my meals together, do my little morning routine, get my cardio in, shower, and get to work. So if I'm getting there at 7, I have to be up at 4.
So guys, this, she's a top Olympian doing all this. Full-time job, 2 jobs, graveyard, and still making it to the Olympia. So, people that say they don't have time or excuse, it's kind of like if you really want it, you can make it happen. Now, obviously, that's not ideal, and that's why she switched to like day shifts now. And how long have you been on days now?
Since September, so a few months now.
But it's almost life-changing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how you feel, like, physically.
I feel better. I sleep religiously 7 to 8 hours between shifts. And then on the weekends, I usually sleep quite a bit more, like 9 to 10 hours a night. But I feel better. I look better. I mean, I'm still, like, in my off-season, but I look better because I'm not freaking so tired and my body's not...
Seems like your strength is a little more consistent.
Yeah. Somewhat. I mean, it's been shit lately, but that's besides the point. We're not talking about that right now, okay?
That's age.
I'm getting old and everything hurts, and my strength is up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, and it really helped for me because I think when we first got together, that first year, I think I averaged, 3.5 hours of sleep because I was running the construction, the gym, and then trying to stay up and have time with you. And so I'd sleep a little bit and then I have to be early with the guys. It was
rough.
Younger at the time, I couldn't do that now. I'd flip and die. But
well, now I think about it, I'm like, I don't even think I could work a night shift anymore. Like, by freaking 9 p.m., my eyes are, like, half shut. Like, I don't think that's for me anymore. I did it my entire career from 18 years old until 36.
Wow.
So 18 years.
That puts a toll on the body, especially with that internal clock that's really meant to be up during the day instead of night. But I never thought you were going to go to days, and you have, and it's been helpful for both of us because I naturally just wake up early now, and so she's going to bed makes it a lot easier for us. It's just been a lot better.
I used to hate getting up early in the morning, but that was just because I would go to bed so late, obviously, that I didn't get enough sleep, so I'd be so pissed off if I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But now that I go to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, I get plenty of sleep. I feel fine.
I mean, we kind of live by the rule: set the nighttime alarm to go to bed instead of the morning alarm, because then you're just. I mean, we just wake up naturally almost at the same time.
I usually get up naturally like 5 or 6 on my days off. So
And like 3 to 3:30.
Yeah, when I'm working, I get up usually around 3:30 in the morning because I have to most days be there at 6:30. So I get up at 3:30. I get on cardio by 4:30, and then that gives me 45 minutes of cardio. I have enough time to shower, get dressed, and run out the door.
So that kind of gives us a little how our day looks to a certain degree. I mean, we got the pups. I mean, type A, this house is spotless. I always joke that you could eat off the floor in here, but you probably could. I mean, it's cleaned every day. And
sorry, I mop every day. Because we have dogs. If we didn't have dogs, I probably wouldn't wouldn't have to mop every single day, but I don't want dog hair all over my house. I'm sorry. It's, to me, I love my dogs, but I don't want my house infested with dog hair and ugh.
You know, that and also... just we live in Arizona. It's dry. It's dusty. Like you can keep the doors shut and there'd be layers of dust inside the house without even doing anything.
I dust every single day, and somehow there is dust every single day. I don't know.
It's like the first thing she does when she gets out in the kitchen, she just wipes all the countertops down. It's a routine. Yeah. You know, they talk about routines. Are they important? They are. I mean, for her, it's very important. You know, having a certain schedule, you know, it is important. As a business owner, sometimes you just got to get up and get to work, and you don't have a choice. But, you know, you do want to schedule your days to where you can be routine, especially if you're doing bodybuilding on top of it, because, you know, there's only one way to do this, and it's all the way in 100% every time you do it. You can't miss meals, you can't miss training, you can't miss cardio, you can't miss posing. And that's all on top of all the food prep, all the gyms, all your clients, you know. So we own 2 gyms as well, and we have staff that runs them now. We've had them for 8 years. The first location, second location is closer to 5 now already. We just expanded right before my show. I'm a glutton for punishment, so when I get super busy with things, I get even more busy, and then I become even more productive, and it just keeps me not thinking about carbohydrates, because I love food and prep. When they prep pulling it, if I'm sitting here not doing anything, I'm food focused, but if I'm out there doing something, at least my mind's off of it. So the daily routine, she just kind of ran through. I mean, and then at nighttime, we get home from the gym, we get home from work.
I try to make it to the gym once or twice during my work week. I work Monday through Thursday. So usually Tuesdays are a slow day for us, so we get out usually the early afternoon, so I have time to get to the gym. And then the other days, I can kind of take a guess just based on the caseload that we have for the week, which days I'll be able to make it to the gym. Usually it's at least once, if not twice, and then I always train Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I know that's not ideal to train all those days in a row, but I'd rather do that than have to get home from work at 6 p.m., rush to the gym, try to get home, try to get to bed, and get enough sleep. Like, I'd rather just do all my days in a row.
And I think you're very much like me in the sense where if we have a day that is off from work, off from training, like, what are we going to do? We just go stir crazy. So, you know, for us, it's actually healthy and routine. It's part of our routine. So we're always doing something every single day because we can't sit still.
Yeah.
And then the dogs, you know, we get home from that. We got to make the dog food. They eat raw food, so she makes the dog food, and a little routine throwing ropes in the backyard with them, so they're not wild when they get inside.
I try to do a little playtime every night before they come in, so they're not so rowdy. But
so they're indoor during the night, and they're outdoor during the day. We got nice fenced backyards. It's awesome, and it's Arizona, so it's pretty nice out here. We just bought them some.
They have sweaters now.
Little doggy hoodies. It's so ridiculous.
Because it's cold in the morning. They like to get up at like 7, 8 o'clock, and it's still like 40-ish degrees outside at this time of year. And they want to go out, but I feel guilty just leaving them out there because, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a dog, but I would think even though they have fur, they're short-haired.
Well, and they're also inside during the coldest times, too. So.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like literally freezing temperatures out, of course, I let them out to go to the bathroom and I bring them back in. Yeah. But if they're just chilling out there, I just let them be. But I'm like, man, to me, I'm like, it's freaking cold, so I feel guilty.
They'd rather be outside during the day anyway.
But they like their little sweaters. Nia's fits really well, so she's a little bit plump, okay? She's a lady. Juice is.
What does her say? It says, I love,
It says, I love my mom.
I love mom on the back.
And she does.
I got Juice one that said
Security.
So Juice is the male and Nia is the female. They're brother and sister. They're full standard American bullies.
But Juice's is a little bit big, but it's so funny because I don't know how he does it. Like, I'll put it on and I like pull it up to the top and like fold it under and whatnot to make it fit better. But I'll look outside at him and he has the whole thing pulled all the way back as far as he can get it, all the way around his butt and his tail, and he just lays in a little cocoon, like he's all bundled up and he's nice and cozy, like he has a blanket on. It's so funny, but he just lays out in the backyard. He's dead asleep like that. So it's hilarious.
You know, the funniest thing is we have them in the kitchen. We got little dog gates, but they'll just sit there while we're making their food, making dinner. We'll give them little carrots or treats, and sometimes we'll give them a chip. And I don't know what it is, man. Every time they bite onto a chip, I think it's the funniest damn thing I ever heard. The dog eat the chip. It sounds ridiculous to me, but
I always buy tortilla strips, and they eat most of them. I'll eat some, but of course it's like this gigantic bag, and I usually don't eat the whole thing. So
they go stale.
I just save the stale chips, and the dogs just love them.
But what a great set of garbage disposals for us.
We don't waste anything. Everything.
All the chicken, all the steak, the trimmings, the bones. We feed them raw so they can eat raw drumsticks. We don't feed them any cooked bones, but anything that's raw they can eat and just digest well. But so they get fresh, raw food off of our plate. I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't have to throw any of that stuff away.
All the scraps.
They're spoiled. I want to die. When I die, I want to come back as one of her dogs. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good little start for this first one. We're going to try to do one every week. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and click the bell so when our podcast pops up again, you're notified. Boss and the Beast out.